is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Role Player, the solo variant, and sequentially the Fiends and Familiars expansion as well. So if you don't know, I did a role player run through and a discussion for a multiplayer game a while back, so you can go definitely check out those videos if you want to know my thoughts on role player. But as a solo variant, this game is really good. Role player was already kind of solo-y anyway, you never really affected other players directly. You just kind of would indirectly, it was drafting, it was dice drafting, so you would potentially take a die that they might want, or a card that they might want, but you were always building your own character to the best of your ability. But what makes this game really interesting is you do that anyway. You're playing the game like normal, and that's one of the best things about solo variants, the good ones, is where it's not like this overly complex rules where it's like, okay, well now you have this, insane AI that it's like, okay, I have to learn that as well as remember how to actually play the game. It's like, I'll just play a video game if I want to do that. But you're playing the game like normal. You're drafting dice, and then the only thing you have to actually think about is, okay, what initiative do I want to take? Because if I take one, nothing happens. All right, I get the die, but that's a lower value die. So if you want a higher value, you risk rolling the enemy die, which will potentially take a card that you want, or potentially fight a monster that you want. So you're sitting there and it's like, okay, I think I'll take the 2. I'll take the die off the 2. Well, then you're only rolling 1, so you're mitigating it less, and you get a better die and a coin. So you roll a 3 and it's like, damn, that's the card I want. Or, yay, it's not the card that I want. So then you're completely unaffected. It simulates a 2-player game pretty well, because that's really what would happen. Either in another player, the thing that isn't there is that you're not playing against someone who could look at your board and be like, oh yeah, you really want that one, and then they'll take it and scrap it for 2, which that's hate drafting, and I don't really like playing with those people anyway. So sitting here and rolling a die, and it's like, dang it, okay, well that's the one I wanted. Okay, so what else can I take? Okay, well there's nothing here, I'll discard it for 2 gold, or I'll go fight the monster. And if you're really lucky, then there's a monster there that you're like, I don't want to pay anything to discard it, so I'll take that, and if it's a 5 or a 6, then it gets rid of the monster anyway, and you're like, oh, thank God. So as a solo variant game, this game is just, it sings. It is so fantastic. There's really not a whole lot to honestly say about it. Role player as itself is a phenomenal game anyway. Spoilers for the other discussion. But this, it works. The dice come out like normal. Nothing changes. It's such a simple variant. And really what you do, I actually like solo variants where it's kind of not like a win-lose. It's, okay, we'll add the score and you get a title. It just feels good unless you do really bad. So in this case, in a solo variant, really, the only thing that kind of changes is obviously the 2 dice, but the monster combat, it will have, some of them might have specific example. So the Ossuary is the player with the fewest active fiend cards gain 1 combat die. So in a 1-player game, it says at the bottom is 2. So 2 fiends are the max that I could have to actually meet this. It basically says the player must meet this requirement in addition to having the matching adventure token in order to gain the benefit. So if I had 3 fiends, then it's like, okay, well I didn't meet that, so I wouldn't get the 1 die. And then what's interesting is that you actually have to roll higher than its health point value, otherwise your hero just dies. And that's interesting because you can technically take like the character that you made and write him on a character sheet. But if you don't kill the big monster, then he dies, and you really couldn't do that, but you honestly could still do that. But I like that. I like that there's that they already have the requirements to gain the die, and then it's like, okay, and then you fight him like normal. And then, like I was saying about the scoring, excuse me, is that you add up your points, and then you check it on, and you get like a title. And I always like that. It always feels pretty good. If you get less than 24, you're an NPC. So that's that. I feel like that would be really hard to get less than a 24. Man, I'm so bummed. I only got 42, which was one away from being a true hero. But things like that. Now it's like, okay, 42, that's the best. So then you can play it again. Different monster, same monster, whatever. Different strategy, different character. I mean, you're going to have a different class and a different backstory, so that's going to determine the dice you're going to go after. So then you just have, like, you just play the game like you would in a regular 2-player game, and I think that's really, really great. So going to the Fiends and Familiars expansion, it's definitely a lot less than the Monsters and Minions. The Monsters and Minions expansion added a whole bunch more, obviously a bunch more monsters, and then the final mega monster at the very end. But the Fiends and Familiars, it is not a bad expansion. I actually kind of like it. It seems to streamline the game a little bit more. So in a couple ways. One, it adds the Call to Adventure die. The Call to Adventure card, which gets put at a certain spot in the market deck, and up until you hit it, there are 2 dice on the initiative card. So you're actually kind of building your character up faster, but still only getting to use 1 ability. So that's pretty neat, because then you're like, oh man, there's those 2. Okay. So it shortens the game, but in such a really good way that it doesn't feel too short nor too long, because once you hit it, which it's in a really good spot, depending on the number of players, then you go back to the 1 die, and at that point hopefully you've built your character well enough that 1 die isn't going to screw you. So, but to compensate also for the 2 dice thing is they have your familiar, and everyone gets their own familiar that has its own special ability, its own power, like suggested power, and its own class, like certain die colors. And those are really cool, because sometimes the dice don't come out in the way that you want for your character, but they might come out for your familiar, and that's pretty cool. It gives you a lot more versatility with the color die or the number die. And if those 2 numbers don't work for you or your familiar, you can still place it there and gain an ability that's going to be beneficial for you in one way or another. So I really like that, and it's not overly complex. It's not a whole nother thing. I mean, it is a whole nother thing. It's one whole, it's a sliver, but it's not like a whole nother character tray. It's just 3 more dice. So I really like that. As for the Fiends are interesting because they're not broken. Like, it's not like if you take one, then the game's over for you. But they are really, 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 really annoying. Like, because you just have them. Like, if you want the expensive dice, then you're gonna take a Fiend, and it might suck. Like this one, when you buy a skill card, you pay double its cost. If there was one out there that was for traits, that would have totally blew my my strategy apart, because it's like that's what I was going for, was traits. And it's like, okay, well, can't do that anymore. And then, well, I have this armor card, so I can't even buy armor. But what's pretty cool is there's cards that will let you banish them, and also you can just pay to banish them. Like, I think it is, it's 5 gold or a charisma token. So, and actually, so in all honesty, I could have just, instead of the 2 charismas that I wasted because I wasn't buying anything, I could have just gotten rid of a Fiend, and you just flip it, and okay, no more. I have no more abilities. I like the Fiends because they allow for balance, because sometimes everyone's going to be fighting for the higher dice, for the most part. So then it makes them second guess. And in a solo variant game, then it makes you really think about it, because it's like, do I want to take that high die value, take a fiend, and have him roll 2 dice, potentially getting rid of 2 cards that I want, even if I could get anything? Or do I just want to try and hover around the 1 and 2 areas? The same decisions that you would honestly make in a multiplayer game, because the dice, because these are supposed to represent the people going before you. If you're going first, well, that's why you don't roll 2 dice, because you're going first in the market or in the market phase. If you're going second, that means one person's going before you. If you're going third, well, in a 2-player game, it doesn't really matter. But if you're going third, then it means that 2 people are going before you. So then it's like, okay, boom, that's what happens. So you lose the potential shot. Love it. I love this 2 dice system that is so smart and elegant, and it's simple. Like, it's so smart. But yeah, in a solo game with the fiends, then you're like, okay, well that might not be too bad, but you are always able to make it work because of the abilities of the different attributes. So I like the fiends, like the streamlined nature of the call to adventure with the market and the multiple dice, and then also the rule book that came out with it is really good because it's a condensed rule book for monsters and minions and the regular thing, and it also shows you, like, if you're setting up like the market deck, it tell you, oh, with the Fiends and Familiars expansion only, or with both of them. And it doesn't say you have to play with monsters and minions, but they recommend it. I would also recommend it. I would highly suggest you just play with both, because the rule book for Fiends and Familiars streamlines it, that it's not any more complex. Like, you're not like super confused as to what's going on. But yeah, that's fantastic. It's just, this game is so good, and I love it. And then it's one of the things I'm going to talk about again is the fact that you could take your your character sheet, and then just you could write down stuff about him, and you could honestly, I swear, you can take this into a D&D game, and it obviously not like 1-for-1, but you could take it and be like, man, I'm really confused on a character. What should I play? You can play Minotaurs in D&D, so it's like, but I mean, it's not gonna be that good because your strength is super low, but your dex is high. But that would be interesting to actually roleplay. Role player, you get it. Yeah, this is fantastic. So, on a scale of 1 to 10 for the Fiend, I'll do 2 ratings. I'll do the Fiends and Familiar rating. I'm gonna give that I'm gonna give it a 9. I really like that expansion. Like, it doesn't bog the game down in any way. In fact, it makes it even quicker, streamlined. I like the 2 dice system up until you hit that card. I like the Fiends to kind of balance out the high dice. And then I love the Familiars. They're so cool. And it adds an extra layer of theme or character to your character. Really like that a lot. So 9 out of 10 for the Fiends and Familiars expansion. And then, as for the solo variant for role player, oh man, I think I'm also going to give it a 9. Like, I think that it is just so elegant, so streamlined. I've played solo variants where they were like overly complex, just trying to force a one-player system down your throat, and it's like, this is not fun. Like, I am so like overwhelmed by you trying to simulate another player in your game that didn't call for it, because now every game has to appeal to everyone, and then by doing so it appeals to no one. This is not that type of game. Like, you are playing role player. And then it's just such an ingenious system with this 2 dice, just to be like, okay, well, alright, that card's gone. Alright. Like, that sucks, I kind of wanted it, but I'll get this one instead. Or, I don't want to fight that monster, or I do want to fight that monster. Shit, okay, it's gone. Dang it, someone already fought it before me, and then you just keep going. Same amount of time. It's phenomenal. So, that's it, everyone. That's my thoughts on Role Player, the solo variant, and the Fiends and Familiars expansion. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.